My name is Brian, and according to the YouTube dashboard, the stats I can see on the back end, the majority of people coming to this channel are between 35 and 55, live in the United States, and they're often referred here from a crypto channel, from a crypto investing channel. And I highlight that specifically because the majority of people are not coming from Bitcoin only channels, but they are coming from like crypto native channels. And something that this is a transition that I'm going through in my own head of being like I still consider myself a very crypto native person. So I've been investing in Bitcoin since 2015. My wife and I have been doing it together since 2015. Very much philosophically driven around Bitcoin replacing fiat money. Like absolutely hands down, that part has not changed like at all. Very passionate about the crypto native side of Bitcoin and on-chain finance, 100% like in, right? One thing that's frustrating about the like crypto native side specifically is the like it's been a long time. It's been a long time and there's kind of like these complaints about like infrastructure. Like is the infrastructure ready? Is the infrastructure ready? And so there's in it kind of broke into two camps where you had the kind of like angry Bitcoin maximalists that wanted to just continue to try to focus on Bitcoin versus fiat money, Bitcoin versus fiat money. And then you kind of had the people that were more interested in smart contracts and wanted to see genuinely like programmable finance as an alternative to centralized banks. And all of that genuinely is good, actually. Like both those sides are good. I've said in previous videos, I'm kind of like a reformed Bitcoin maximalist. And again, all of this though, like all of this blabbering is very in the weeds about like crypto native sub pockets of things, right? And all that's good. Like all that's good and interesting. But what doesn't exist really is this kind of like personal finance blended concepts for 35 to 55 year olds of like so what, like so what are you supposed to do with the information, like so what, like the fire movement, for example, the personal finance movement, for example, is still very like blasé like about Bitcoin. Like they're just not super interested. And crypto, I haven't seen like super great personal finance stuff come out of it. Like I'm with you that I want to see on-chain finance be more efficient than like centralized banks. Like yes, the ACH network sucks and it's weird that it's not open on the weekends. And it's stupid that you can't run your own ACH network node and that it's gate-kept behind banks. Like what is your checking account? Like your checking account is an ACH network node because Bank of America is allowed to run the ACH network and I'm not allowed to run the ACH network. So I have to use the account routing number over there in order to like pay bills and get paid in America. Like like blockchains being better than the ACH network is like yes, that's here. That's fully here. Okay, but what does all that have to do with the title of the video? What this has to do with the title of the video is I'm I have a big passion to like blend these worlds. And so I've recently gone down the rabbit hole of like Bitcoin income funds, because I think they're presenting like a really interesting crossover between people that are like financially savvy. Just financially savvy. Like they're financially savvy and they're open to Bitcoin's big growth potential, but they also are in a part of their life where they want income. And this is another thing that like the Bitcoin maximalists and the real estate maximalists constantly talk past each other because real estate has yield. Like real estate has cash flow. Bitcoin doesn't have cash flow as one part of why they cross each other. So this whole thing of like growth versus income, I think this concept of growth versus income is not going anywhere. I only personally have like scratched the surface of this about like growth versus income and why both are important at different parts of your life, but honestly throughout your life. So this concept of like a Bitcoin income fund on like where they automate the covered calls for you and take a fee, but then you're still writing up a portion of the Bitcoin upside, I think is like a great product for a good set of people, and it grounds the usefulness of Bitcoin for like a new set of people. And I've underheard it talked about in the pockets of space where I've been. So this is almost just a bookmark. This is a bookmark that, and I'm going to bookmark 2 other videos for you to watch below about BTCI specifically from a place called NEOS. The other thing I like about it is that the fund manager comes on YouTube. Like, he comes on YouTube. I just watched 3 videos of him back to back to back. And that's so refreshing. Like, that's so refreshing to see that blended approach of like someone running a decently large ETF. Like, as of recording right now, it looks like it has like 700 million assets under management, just coming on YouTube and talking to channels. And so I've recently just subscribed to a couple different like dividend investing, income investing type channels. And I never was deep in that movement. I was never deep in that movement because everything I opened the video of, like, I was deep in the on-chain Bitcoin crypto native movement, right? And I zoomed out of that for a while, joined the real estate movement. Like, real view, like, I love YouTube. I love YouTube. I've learned everything I know about Bitcoin, everything I know about real estate from YouTube. And like, the viewers do a better job of, most of the time, of picking and choosing between different niches than the actual people talking do often. But what I've been noticing is I think there's so much crossover potential between a lot of these different personal finance like niches that it's not being like fulfilled yet, really. And why does that matter? Why that matters is because I want to see Bitcoin replace fiat money like in our lifetime. And speaking to crypto native people, like, we need the dividend investors to understand Bitcoin. Like, we need the real estate investors to understand Bitcoin because they all use dollars right now. We all use dollars. That would be my thing back to the dividend investors and the real estate investors. Is what keeps everyone like in common is the dollars, obviously. But what frustrates crypto native people is the dollar is never examined by the dividend investors, the FIRE investors, the real estate investors. And that's the favorite thing that crypto native people like to examine, is like all the problems with the actual dollar itself. And I kind of get it, because up to this point, there wasn't a solution for it. Like, there wasn't an actual solution for the dollar other than to invest in stocks and to invest in real estate, and to, like, you would have to invest and outpace your way of the debasement. So it kind of like got rid of really the, like, savings isn't really a thing anymore, because you basically just have to invest and be constantly invested to outpace the debasement, which then circles all the way back around, is that Bitcoin and having a deep understanding of Bitcoin is almost what has brought me back to now being excited about income. And now recognizing that, like, you can have an income/growth split when the money doesn't suck. Like, people talk about the 60-40 portfolio being dead. The 60-40 portfolio is dead. And now people are moving from bond-based income to like ETF-based income. But that still only works when, in my opinion, when you have a grounded view of, like, Bitcoin consensus is building that Bitcoin can replace the US dollar. And I'm not saying that in a bombastic, that's the other thing where I'm trying to blur these lines. I'm not trying to say that in a bombastic doomsday way. I'm trying to say that in a very, like, optimistic way. Like, people like to talk about, like, optimism around AI and stuff like that. I see nothing but optimism for Bitcoin to become the world reserve currency. Because then people that, like, if people that don't own assets, all they have is their job, all they have is their labor, the currency itself doesn't suck anymore. And they don't have to jump over this huge hurdle rate of, like, getting a sizable enough nest egg in order to be invested in, like, volatile things. So there's also a whole thing here on, like, Bitcoin's volatility, specifically on the fund, BTCI. Like, the reason why BTCI can pay out such a high distribution rate is because Bitcoin's volatility is higher than any stocks. Bitcoin's volatility is an asset in and of itself. Why does Bitcoin have such high volatility? Because the supply is capped. Because the supply is capped and there's no public founder that can issue new shares. And so there's no outlet for all of the world trying to value it other than its price. because the supply is fixed and can't change. And so what the guys at NEOS and BTCI are doing is they're using the volatility to sell calls on the volatility and produce income for the holders. And first impressions are it's really cool and really interesting. I'm taking a serious look at it, and I'm going to link you to more kind of more in-depth interviews below for you to check out.